Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we are going to talk about reworking. But before we continue, the AI Championships is out at the moment. People are betting, it's wonderful, it's awesome. However, go and double check your bet, because if you have not followed the format when betting, if you have not put the 3 things I need, or the 2 things that I need you to put in your comment, I will not accept your bet. I do not care who you are. It's much more work on my end. I just need it done the way it is so I can move on and not waste my own time. So go double check. Anyway, moving on to reworking. We're going to focus specifically on the Archons in this video. I will do other videos reworking other factions. Now, I already know, I can already hear it. Some people out there are, why would you rework the Archons? I've paid for these characters. They're mine. They shouldn't be touched. First of all, that's an unhealthy way to look at it. If the Archons remain the way they are, the game is not in a healthy state. Because you go into Arena, this is almost all you see now. It's not good for the game, and it's not good for the future. Because to beat the Archons, they're going to have to create something else that can beat the Archons. And if they can beat the Archons, they're most likely going to be more powerful overall. And there's going to be a whole slew of other issues then. So, a game like Age of Magic that is purely, or not purely, but the majority of it is focused on PvP. The PvP scene needs to be healthy. It needs reworks. It needs to constantly be changing to allow variety, to allow, more than 10 of the 70 characters in the game to be viable, because it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not healthy. And like I said, it causes a whole lot of issues. So we're going to focus on the Archons. What I've suggested in these videos is not 100%. Don't look at this and be like, that's 100% how they should be changed. Reworking champions comes with a lot of work. They need to be considered, how they work together, how they affect other factions. I'll explain my decisions and why I've picked them, but overall, it would need a lot more work than me just writing on a piece of paper to change them. So Archons, let's get into it. At the moment, this is why they are so powerful. I've gone through every hero and individually stated why they are strong. And yeah, I can go over it. Like, even the weakest characters still pretty strong. But Argand, multiple attacks at once, grants another turn if kills an enemy with Thunderbolt, increases own damage, reduces enemy damage, hides when critically hit, gains initiative if an ally is critically hit. Let's go to a more powerful character. Tearus removes armor buffs from enemy, reduces incoming damage to self, ignores enemy armor, critical hits deal extra percent to health damage, reduces initiative of enemies, increases damage with consecutive hits, upon death cast Light Cyclone. That's a lot of stuff for one character to have. Go to Sacrif. I'm just going to point out Sacrif, then we'll move on. You can read these if you want. They're just reduces enemy initiative, removes buffs from allies, prevents debuffs from being applied, increases own initiative, heals, grants invulnerability, or it's not invulnerability, they come back to life, grants passive shielding, grants dodge to allies critically hit. That is a lot of positive things. Altogether, as a faction, this faction has almost 0 weaknesses. Sure, there are ways to beat combinations of these heroes, but it requires a lot of effort, it requires a lot of RNG, and in a turn-based game, RNG shouldn't be the biggest factor in your victory. It's not good, and a lot of these teams can only be built by using goldies themselves, and it's not great. What the faction lacks as well is it lacks a theme. Factions should have a theme, a way they work, and that's how I've based the reworks of these heroes. So moving on, the theme is going to be shielding and accuracy manipulation. That is what the Archons specialize in. They are golden beings that are very powerful, and their light is enough to cause enemies to be blinded. That is their theme. Let's work with that. Moving on to Sacrif. Basic ability is Threads of Light, deals damage and has a chance to reduce initiative. Initiative reduction shouldn't be a theme for the Archons. The new version of this deals damage and has a chance to blind. Makes much more sense. You're being hit with a beam of light, okay? Special 1, Fortitude of Warriors. Removes 7 debuffs from one ally and all Archons and prevents debuffs being cast on them for 2 turns. Increases own initiative per Archon. Okay, a lot of stuff happening in there. She's a healer / support seems fair enough, but let's rework it. New removes debuffs from one ally and all Archons and grants them a shield for every debuff removed. Prevents debuffs from being cast on herself for 2 turns. To prevent debuffs being cast on everyone, that is quite a powerful ability. With an already powerful kit, sure, it would make sense if that was her only powerful ability, and that's what made her special, but she's powerful overall already, so we need to numb her down a little bit. Special 2, Holy Healing, restores health. This is the original, restores health to one ally and all Archons. If their health is full, they receive a shield. Some characters will also survive. When I say some, or the same characters will also survive the next deadly attack. Instead, have some health restored. The new version restores health to all allies. All Archons will survive the next deadly attack they take, and instead have some of their health returned. We're removing the barrier part, okay? Just restore the health. The barrier part shouldn't be... Sure, it's the theme, but this is a healing ability, not a barrier applying ability, and it prevents them from dying. Healing and barrier, pretty strong together. And then the passive, Light of the Archons. Now, this is what makes her such a powerful character. Original, at the start of the turn, applies a shield to one ally and all Archons. If an allied Archon takes a critical hit, they will dodge the next attack. This dodge buff can stack. Such a powerful passive. The new version, whenever an allied Archon takes critical damage, Sacrif will follow up by applying a shield to the ally. I don't understand why dodging should be a thing for this faction. Dodging is a thing that should be more applied to the elves, wild elves, factions like that. Factions that have these quick characters, agile, not a faction that is a force faction. It's meant to be dealing a lot of damage and, protecting / healing. So I've removed the dodge thing altogether. And to be honest, dodge off critical hit is not a great thing to have because you can't really control critical hits. It's RNG, not great. So that's Sacrif. Moving on to Tearus. So Tearus, another powerful character. Mace Strike, original, strikes a single target 3 times and removes all armor buffs. Has a chance to decrease damage taken from the next 4 attacks. The new strikes a single target 3 times and removes all armor buffs. Okay? I don't understand why he would be decreasing the enemy attack. That doesn't seem like a thing he would do. He's a damage dealer. Focus on the damage dealing. Stellar Rain strikes a target 6 times, critical hits, deal 9% damage to max health. Okay, so I've taken a fair bit away overall for Tearus, so I've made this ability a bit stronger. Strikes a target 6 times, critical hits will deal 9% damage to max health. This ability will deal more damage to max health if the target is classified as a tank. You'll explain why. You'll see why I've increased the damage of this ability. Light Cyclone. Original, strikes all enemies 3 times with a percentage chance to reduce the initiative per strike. The attacks completely ignore armor. Ignores armor. The new version strikes all enemies 3 times with a % chance to reduce armor per strike. I don't understand why he's reducing initiative. He's a damage dealer. Let's focus on him doing more damage. So the way it would work is you would do this ability first, reduce the armor, follow up with his Stellar Rain, and then that would allow him to do more damage. His Mace Strike already ignores armor, I believe, or removes armor buffs. Either way. Passive Storm Aura, original, damage from consecutive hits in a single turn increases 8%. Will cast Light Cyclone upon death. I haven't really nerfed this. It might be stronger in the long run. Damages from consecutive hits increase Tearus' damage by X% until the end of the battle. So it obviously wouldn't be 8% to begin with. You could make it 1% if you wanted to, because he's if he uses, Stellar Rain, he will instantly get a 6% damage increase permanent to the end of the battle, making him a threat the longer he is on the field, forcing you to want to take him out. Will cast Light Cyclone upon death. So if you leave him long enough and he stacks up that damage and he casts that Light Cyclone, he's probably going to take out your team. So do you deal with him quicker? I've removed the initiative reduction from him. Doesn't need it. Made him a pure damage dealer. That should be him. That's what he's built around, is his damage. Moving on to Tearus. Not Tearus, Tearus, Crossbow Bolt. deals damage. If the target is a demon, will attack again. Damage from critical hits are increased. The new version deals damage if Argand is an ally, then will attack again. So he will double attack if Argand is on the field. I've removed the demon thing. I understand the lore of the story, but just make the faction usable as a whole. It doesn't need to be used against specific factions. Make them usable against specific factions with their move sets and how they work. So, like, as you can see, the theme would be accuracy decrease with these heroes. So, a counter to this would be the high elves, because they ignore they ignore dodge. They can attack no matter what. So that would be explained in a later video. So that's what I'm aiming for. Special 1, Bolt of Faith. Damages from attacks are increased by 12% per Archon, and what are they called? Keepers of a Rat. Damage to demons increased by 40%. So damage from attack is increased by 12%. I've kept that the same from Archons and Keepers of a Rat. Target is blinded when hit. So this I've removed the damage increase to demons. It's already a strong ability, but now it blinds an enemy when hit. When he hits an enemy, he will blind them. Special 2, Divine Retribution. AoE increases chance of dealing a critical hit by 100% on next attack. Has a chance to reduce target's ability to dodge. Targets take more damage from the next attack. So I've changed this. AoE increases chance to deal a critical hit by 100%. Fine with that on next attack. Decreases target's initiative by X%. Attacks cannot be dodged. So this is a hail of arrows coming down on the enemy. To make him stronger, I took one of the strengths of Tearus and brought it over to him. I know reducing initiative isn't their theme, but I didn't want to make all his abilities blind the enemy either, and he's just doing one initial decrease to initiative, whereas Tearus could decrease their initiative to almost to 0 if he wanted to, if he got lucky with RNG. This ability no longer relies on RNG, it's just straightforward. Passive Celestial Guard. If attacked has a chance to counter-attack along with an allied Archon, increases own damage for 2 turns when an enemy or ally dies and places a shield around himself. The new version of this would be, if attacked, will counter-attack along with allied Archon along with an allied Archon who uses their basic attack, increases own damage by X% when an ally dies. I've removed him applying a shield to himself. He doesn't possess that power. He's a guy with a crossbow. I don't understand why he would be taught to shield himself. He stands in the back, he fires his arrow. That's what he does. So you could probably increase the damage he gets from allies dying by a fair amount, as it's no longer, just to make him more viable. And the counterattack, I don't like it. Archons aren't really a counterattack faction. I feel like that'd be more barbarians, but I don't want to take too much away from him. Since Tearus isn't used at all, I want to give him a kit where people consider using him, because he's just not used. So moving on to Argand. Basic is the Dagger Strike original. Strikes an enemy, has a chance to perform a second attack, then another chance to perform a third attack. The new version strikes an enemy. If the target is blinded, then will perform 2 more attacks. So you're using that blind advantage. His special 1, Silver Thunderbolt. Original attacks one target and another at random. Chance increased per Archon to attack a random third target. If an enemy dies by this ability, Argand will get another turn. The new version attacks one target and another at random. Chance increased per Archon to attack a third target, so I've kept that. However, we've removed the attack if he kills a target, and we've damage is increased to targets that have been blinded. So he is really, the blinded enemy is not going to see this rogue coming. That's the whole theme I'm building with this character. They're blinded, he's going to come in and strike real quick as a rogue does. He's going to get more damage because they're not suspecting the attack. Special 2, Blinding Stab. Original increases own damage for 2 turns and performs an undodgeable attack. Reduces target's damage if the ability kills a target. And if the ability kills a target, Argand gets another turn. The new version increases own damage for 2 turns and performs an undodgeable attack. Blinds the target, and if the ability kills the target, Argand will get another turn. So Blinding Stab, pretty straightforward. I've added the blind effects to it because that's the theme of the Archons, blinding. Passive Step into the Shadows. When attacked, when taking a critical hit, Argand will hide for 2 turns. Initiative is increased per critical hit taken by himself or allies. I've kept that the same. Even if you reduce his damage overall, because this is still quite a powerful ability. And with the critical, the only reason I've kept it the same though is because now that they're getting critically hit with Sacrif's change, they're not dodging the next attack. So you're still going to be able to output damage. This is just giving him a bit more, you know, use in the fight, because you're going to be taking them down a lot quicker because you're not dodging every critical hit. You're still going to apply every hit unless you're being blinded. So you could change this if you wanted to. All you would do, I don't know, you could probably change the initiative increase to something else to prevent him from moving so quickly. Moving on, we have Ilias. Ilias, he's a difficult one because he's such a good character as a leader, but he is quite powerful. So basic is Flame Flux, damages an enemy with a chance to increase initiative per Archon, and KOA ally deals more damage to Dark Heroes. Damage, the new version, with damages an enemy with a chance to increase initiative per Archon. Yeah, fair enough. I'll give him that. Deals more damage to heroes brought out of hiding. So not just Dark Heroes, but if they're brought out of hiding. So like if you can get Cage or Mabe to come out of hiding, which he does in his kit, he should be able to do more damage to them because he's revealed them. A special one, Searing Light. Original deals undodgeable AoE damage. Has an increased chance per Archon ally to stop an enemy dodging the next attack and have their fortitude reduced by 100%. Has a chance to increase Dark Heroes cooldowns by 1 turn. The new version deals undodgeable AoE damage and decreases fortitude by the enemy by 100%. Has an increased chance per Archon ally to increase the cooldown of the original target by 2 turns. So what I mean by that is it's an AoE ability, but you can still select a target before you cast the AoE ability. So select your target, cast the light, increase their cooldowns by 2 turns. Why is it better to have 2 turns than 1 turn? Because if you increase the cooldowns of an enemy that has by 1 turn and their cooldowns aren't up already, by the time it comes back to their turn, the cooldown just comes straight off and they can attack anyway. So 2 turns gives you 1 turn of them not being able to cast their abilities, if that makes sense. Special 2, Wisdom of Stars. Original, all Archon and KOA get 13% initiative for each buff they have, and other characters hit half of this. Dark Heroes can't hide from attacks for 2 turns. This ability can't be blocked by Fortitude or dodged. The new all Archons and KOA get 13% initiative for each buff they have, and other characters get half of this. I like that. You know, it's something to, yeah. Characters cannot hide from attacks or go into hiding for 2 turns. So you're pretty much just lighting up the battlefield. This ability cannot be blocked by Fortitude or dodge. So again, you could get rid of the initiative increase if you wanted to. I'm not sure how much that would affect him. To be honest, that doesn't normally affect the battle too much, because when you use this ability, your character's initiative bars are pretty full already, so they're not getting huge bursts of initiative. The characters cannot hide, so you light up the field. Hiding is impossible. Yeah. So what I mean by characters cannot hide from attacks is Mabe, who has a natural hide, or Balara, who can naturally hide. They can't hide while this ability is active, and characters that can go into hiding can't do it either. Leader, Guardians of the Grove, they get 8% of their max health when critically hit. Other allies receive half of this. Archons and K get 2% more damage for every % of health missing. The new version, Archons, they get their 8% still if they're critically hit. Other allies receive half of this. Archon and KOA allies also gain shield for a % of their health when critically hit. So I've taken the increase to damage. They don't need it, okay? Their damage is plenty. But the barrier is their theme. Let's focus on the barrier. This works a lot better as well because, you focus down characters individually. This only really takes effect on that one character as you're melting them down. So I don't like the whole attack increase thing. Moving on to Artis. Artis. Crushing Blow. Deals damage with a chance to reduce initiative. Has a chance to reduce enemies' damage. Deals damage with a chance to reduce initiative and speed of the target. So we get rid of the reduce damage. You're getting hit with this massive hammer, okay? It makes sense that you're going to be slowed a little bit and have a bit of initiative reduced. Starlight. Allies take less damage from the next critical hit. Allies will receive a shield. Allies will counter-attack once. The initiative of Archons is increased. That's a lot of stuff for one ability. Let's change it. All allies receive a shield and Archons will counterattack once. I don't like that because they're not a counterattacking faction. The initiative of all Archons will be increased if they are missing health. So we've just nerfed it a tiny bit. You know, there's so many shields coming out. Sometimes Archons just have full health. You know, this is just going to prevent them from becoming really, really strong. Special 2 Star Thunder AoE damage net. Yeah, it's an AoE damage ability. Next Archon will use the special will gain initiative. We've changed it. AoE damage still. The next Archon to use the special gains a shield. So get rid of the initiative buff. Supernova AoE damage. Archons gain initiative for every enemy that dodges, blinds all enemies. The new version AoE damage. Archons gain a shield for every enemy that dodges. So yeah, I like that a lot better. Again, removing the initiative increase that so many of these Archons have. It's to the point where sometimes you don't even get a turn in and blinds all enemies. So we're keeping the blind theme. He is the boss. He can blind all enemies. It makes sense. Leader of Arcadia. Original start of turn has a chance to reduce ability cooldown of a random Archon ally and half of that for others. Own damage is increased. And next 4 attacks against artists do less damage. Increases speed and damage of all Archons until the end of the battle. Very powerful leadership ability. The new start of turn has a chance to add a shield to a random Archon ally. If artist has a shield at the start of the turn, he gains a damage increase and the next 4 attacks against him deal less damage. Archons have increased damage if they have a shield. I don't feel like they should just... I've got rid of the increased speed. That's not their faction. They don't move fast. And, you know, if they have a shield, they're more protected. They're more likely to attack, you know. You're more likely to attack, have a strong offense if you have a good defense. So that's the thing for artists. And then moving on to Magnus, Spear Strike damages and causes the next 4 attacks to do less damage to him and an ally if they have a shield. We have changed damages and restores health. If health is full, gains a shield. I don't understand why this would give an ally reduced damage intake. It's a basic attack. Let's just focus on himself. He can heal with his strike. He can gain a shield if he has full HP. It's not a powerful heal either. It's a basic attack. Special 1 Gatekeeper creates a shield for 1 ally and all Archons. Has an increased chance per Archon to lower the enemy speed. Change it. Creates a shield for 1 ally and all Archons who are missing health. Increases own speed for X amount of turns. Doesn't increase the speed of all Archons. That's not him. He's not a support unit. Like, he does some support tank things, but why would he increase the speed of all Archons? Special 2, Light Beam Strike, damages 1 enemy, removes all buffs and debuffs from self and heals, provokes enemies for 2 turns. The next 4 attacks deal less damage to him. He won't die from the next killing blow. Change it, damages 1 enemy, removes all buffs and debuffs from self and heals, provokes enemies for 2 turns. The next 4 attacks deal less damage to him. The enemy who places the killing blow on Magnus will be blinded. You assume that when he finally does die, the scar in his chest will erupt with light and just blind the enemy. Leader, Champion of Arcadia. That's not right. Is that... Let me go back. Leader of... Okay, Champion. Okay. I thought there was the same ability as artist for a second there. Alright, original. When not provoking, he gains speed. I think that's a translation issue in the actual game with this ability. It says when not being provoked. I think it's meant to be when not provoking, he gains speed. If an ally falls below a certain percent of health, he will taunt. I love this. I love this for a tank. This is what all tanks should strive for. Counter attacks for allies cannot be critically hit. So what we've done, when not protected by a shield, he gains the speed. If an ally falls below a certain percent of health, he will taunt and grant them a shield. Cannot be critically hit. I've removed the counter-attack thing. He's not a counter-attacker. It's not his job. His job is to protect his allies and to, you know, allow them to survive if being absolutely thrusted on. So I've just refined him a tiny bit to fit more of a tank role, instead of a damage dealing role. He takes a lot of damage mitigation by not being able to be critically hit, so he doesn't need to do damage as well. That's not him. He's a tank. That's how I look at it. Alright, so that's how I would rework the Archons. Obviously, this is a really, really long video, but I really believe that the Archons need to be, not just the Archons, characters in general need to be reworked for the game to stay healthy. And they should be looked at with a theme, with a goal, and not just given every ability in the game and, you know, hope for the best. Each character is beautifully designed. They should have a unique way they work in battle. And they can be designed in ways as well that they could be used with characters from other factions, not just specifically. A lot of the Archons work very well with the other Archons, but yeah, that's why I've changed it the way I have. Like I said though, none of this is perfect. You could easily rewrite your own way you think they could be reworked. I bet you there are people out there that 100% think they don't need to be reworked, but each to their own. Up to you. Do what you want. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you are in the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.